I read an article where it says that the possibility of a man falling into infidelity is much higher when she's pregnant and after birth. Would you say that's a part of the postpartum process, or that's just
I think that's
men being men?
No, we would never say men are men because I have a traumatic experience. I was told men are men. No. We don't say that because there are phenomenal men out there. That's I can only go biblical with it. The only reason why a man is doing what they're doing or a woman is doing what they're because they lack self-control. If you had self-control, you'd be able to know that your wife is going through pregnancy, your wife is going through postpartum. Like there's a level of self-control that's lacking. And I don't know. I think I can't really speak to that because I think everyone's experience is different. I don't know your relationship. I don't be in nobody's bedroom, but that is not my business.
Would you say self-control or emotional intelligence?
I'm always go biblical with it. So self-control is a fruit of the spirit, but you do have to have emotional intelligence as well, because you have to understand that, okay, as a man, you are the leader of the household. And I speak from a Christian perspective. So if you are submitted to God and your wife is submitted unto you, like there's a level of like,
right.
You know,
if I may give my opinion about how my advice to men or how I perceive it. A woman is carrying your child to bring life into this world, a seed that you provide to her to multiply for you, right? Her body is going through a change that she has never experienced. And even if she wanted to explain it to you, but she can't. But as far as on the men aspect, men don't experience that, right? So there has to be a level of emotional intelligence.
Absolutely.
Not only to be grateful, but to be patient in the process, right? Those are decisions that you make. Okay, look, I want to have a child with this woman. So you have to be not only a leader, but you have to be mindful not only of your decision and consequences, because as a woman, now I just gave birth. I just went through this traumatic experience to give birth to a child. And then now you're going to abandon me while I'm in the process of healing to go to someone else who is in a better shape, who's in a better place, right? And someone who hasn't put their life on the line to produce anything for you. So to the men out there, I don't have any kids yet, but that is something that I've always wanted to say to men. Be mindful of that. You understand? Once that woman gives birth to your child, you have to be extremely patient, extremely mindful. Yes, extremely mindful of the state of mind that person is in.
Absolutely. And things shift, things change. Like the person that you married, the person that you got with, the person that you saw at the mall that you hollered at, that's not going to be the same person in 5 years. That's not going to be the same person when she gives birth. Her hormones are shifting. Wisdom starts instilling. She becomes a mother. Like now she becomes mama bear. Like now she's protecting this baby, but also trying to understand what her body looks like. And doing that, you also have to think about, this is a woman that's stepping in front of the mirror. She's looking at old pictures of herself. She's like, dang, I used to be this, that, and the other. The snapback is not snapping the way that she thought it was, because society says that the snapback is where it's at. You know, she's looking at the mirror and she's like, well, this is not what I look like, and I don't feel comfortable in my body.
But I have a question for you both. You guys are mentioning that the men need emotional intelligence, but I'm pretty sure there's a viewer out there that's asking, how do one obtain this emotional intelligence that you guys are speaking about?
Great question. Don't forget, there's when you talking about it, marriage. We're talking about marriage per se. We're not talking about, because whenever you're getting into a marriage is something that is godly instituted, right? So marriage, you can't say I'm going to get married and don't include God in it, because that's not something that was created by man.
Exactly.
God instituted marriage, right? So therefore, the men always lean to God That's why you always have to build yourself. Your resources is always going to be God. That's where you fall back on. That means that's where your mental resilience comes from. That's when your emotional intelligence comes from. So from there, you must lean on God in order to be able to lead. That woman leads on you to be able to guide her, nurture her, and protect her, especially in the moment she's very vulnerable.
Absolutely. It takes the work. And I'm glad you said that. It does take that building of that relationship with God to be able to know, like, okay, what is my role as a man? What am I supposed to do? The Bible says, men, love your wife as Christ loved the church. Right. What did he do? He gave himself.
Of course.
Like, look at his characteristics. Do you match that? Because we're supposed to be Christ-like every day. We're supposed to build on that, and that should be the firm foundation.
I do have a question to ask you. For a man who feel the distance, because now she just gave birth. Once a woman gives birth, her mindset changes for that time, because now she's nurturing to a child, and men could feel neglected. So what advice would you give a man that's in that current state, that's either waiting for his wife to heal, that is confused if she still loves him, and that is going through the patient process? What advice would you give to him coming from a woman?
Communication is key. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. You have to remember that this is a woman that her hormones are all over the place. If you tell her we're making chicken and she wanted beef, she's probably going to start crying because she wanted chicken. But her hormones are all over the place. So you have to be mindful of how you deliver the message. Like, hey, you know, is this something that you're like, do I need to get in more resources? What is she lacking? What does she need? Because it could be as easy as, if you asked her what she needed or what the issue was, she probably could say, I just want to sleep for an hour uninterrupted. Or I want to be able to take a shower every morning. And it's like, oh, okay, let's get some additional help. Like, hey, you know, I don't want to have to feed the baby and cook you breakfast. Like, where, you know, it's all about communication. And I think that's a lot of times what we lack. And that should be the beginning. Like, we should be working on that foundational of, like, how do we communicate? How do we express our needs and wants to each other, so that we're able to, in times like this, we're able to effectively communicate difficult conversations. Because I don't think, as people, we don't have that solid foundation of what communication looks like, so we don't know how to communicate difficult conversations. Of course. My husband should be able to tell me, hey, I know you had a baby, but you know, what can I do to alleviate the pressure? Because I could easily say, yo, like, we got the resources, let's get a nanny, let's get a night nurse. Like, there are certain things, let's get a housekeeper. Can my mom come every morning? Like, those are those things but you have to have the conversation. If you don't have the conversation, you're not gonna know.